Okay. It had to be Motown. Little Stevie Wonder, my hometown. Detroit, born and bred here. Well, thank you, Stacy and Kyle, for taking my entire speech. And so, no, really, Stacy, thank you. Well, first of all, thank all of you for that. And thank you, Stacy, for the introduction. It's an honor. Can I just say about Stacy Davis Gates? And, you know, she is president of AFT Local 1. So we like to remind everybody of that. But time and again, Stacy proves herself to be an incredible union leader, an incredible human being, a formidable leader with a vision of where we have to go and where labor needs to go. And she's a teacher and a terrific mother to her kids. And I need to thank you for your commitment to the IFT as a vigorous statewide union, and your support for me personally. It means the world. Thank you. And Cindy, thank you for being a tremendous educator, a gifted union leader. Your leadership in SWAC has been transformational. It's been an honor to work with you. And these two are both working mothers. They're working moms. You know, you think it's hard to be a union leader, and it really dawned on me years ago that it's much harder to be a female union leader and a working mom union leader. So give it up for them. So look, this is my final speech to you as your president, and I can't express to you what a great job this has been, an honor and a privilege. 15 years to represent us, our union, our power, each of you, publicly, in quiet rooms with legislators with crazy ideas, in D.C., wherever, even abroad next to the AFT. But you, our members, and all the people you represent, incredible teachers, paraprofessionals, college and university faculty and staff, graduate employees, retirees, our public state employees, the diversity of our membership is vast, and it's beautiful, and it's inspiring, really. The power of our membership is inexhaustible, and the obligations of union leadership are formidable. I hope you feel I've met that challenge well. I know you meet it every day. So when I first spoke to this body, it was in St. Louis in 2010 when I was elected. And one of the things I said in my very first speech, and I'll quote, was that there's no right that we have that we didn't fight to win. And there's no right that we have that we won't have to fight to keep. How correct I was. But then I was foreseeing battles around pensions, due process, seniority rights, tenure, the right to strike. And those did come under attack. SB 7, remember that? They came under attack my first day in office. The neoliberal reformers had written a bill about this big to undo those things for us. Karen Lewis and I got dragged into those meetings, and we did pretty well. We protected most of it, but those were under attack. I didn't imagine then that in 2025, we'd be fighting to maintain the right to peaceably assemble, the right to free speech, the right to a free press, the right to a separation of church and state, the right to a pursuit of happiness, academic freedom, the right to vote in a free and fair election, the right to equal protection under the law. But, siblings, these are all at risk in our nation now. And more is at risk. Our economic well-being is at greater risk than at any time since the Gilded Age, maybe more so. The grotesque gaps between the richest and the rest imperil our standard of living, but more, they imperil the viability of our representative democracy. The futures of the children we teach. The futures of our children seem less bright than they did to us. And that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. So it's in this context that we gather. Out in the streets, not far from here at all, the American military has been deployed and may still be yet again against its own citizens and residents. Weapons of war have been used against our neighbors, citizen and non-citizen alike, adult and child alike, as they have exercised their right to peaceably assemble and protest. This is a new reality we're dealing with. Kyle referenced it. A school child our members teach lost their father. Tear gas has entered a room in a classroom on the southeast side of Chicago. So in 3 years, we have to ask, what will this reality look like? And will we be able to say we did something about it? That's the context in which we meet. Now, that's grim, but I want to turn for a minute. I'm going to come back to that, but I want to turn to what we've done over the last few years because it is inspiring. 3 years ago when we gathered, we raised dues a bit for all our members, and we said we'd organize more, and we did. We elected a board, an IFT executive board, more diverse than anyone we've ever had. So since then, as Stacy mentioned it, we've organized over 8,000 new workers into our union. That's 8,000 people who didn't have a voice at work. 30 new units, including thousands of new research assistants in the U of I system. Woo! 700 full-time professors at ISU. A relatively small Montessori school in Chicago. And during my tenure, all our organizing has exploded. UIC, District 214, Mannheim, and 571, even the Old Town School of Folk Music and the Comedy Educators at the Great Second City. The Latin School, Francis Parker Perez, teachers in far southern Illinois at Joppa Maple Grove. They've all come together under our banner as IFT members, and this just scratches the surface of our organizing wins. I'm so proud of all of you, all of us, for organizing, especially so many PSRP units, something we set out to do. We set out to do it because it's the right thing to do. It addresses the inequities of gender, race, and economics that exist for so many of our paras. And there's still plenty more organizing to do. But I would say one of my proudest achievements here in this time in the IFT is that we have become, again, an organizing dynamo. No disrespect to no shade on our union colleagues at AFSCME and the IEA and SEIU, but you know what? We lead. The IFT leads. We've organized more than they have. We've organized more than any other union in the AFT, and the AFT leads the AFL-CIO in organizing. So yes, the IFT is strong. Our organizing is strong. When I became president, we had actually very little in reserves funds in the IFT. It wasn't so long before I became president that my local would lend money to the IFT over the summer so they could make payroll. So in 2013 or so, I said to the board, we've got to set up a reserve fund. We've got to find ways to have money in the bank, and we did that. And so I'm happy to say at the last convention, we had over $10 million in reserves, enough to withstand Rauner, the MAGA world, whatever attacks are coming our way, and enough to endow an educational innovation fund and a member assistance fund. The member assistance fund who helps our members. It's already happened. Members who've lost their homes in floods and tornadoes, we give them a little leg up. And the Educational Innovation Fund has funded campaigns like our GEOs, who did a really creative internal organizing campaign centered on racial justice. We had money to help that. Locals 4100, 1600, 6456 at UIC, we help fund their FAST Fund program to assist college students in needs. And I invite you to think about that and apply. There is money there and grants for you all to apply to do creative organizing within your locals. So our finances are strong. I want to talk about the IFT staff. You know, when I came into this job, you don't really know what it entails. Stacy, you don't know what it entails. And you learn very quickly, we've got a staff of 100 around the state, in 11 offices around the state, and that's a big management job. But they're the best staff in the union movement. Raise your hand, stand up if you're IFT staff. God bless you. Look at these people. Legislatively, we're stronger. Think what we were able to do during COVID to pay for paras, everything from culturally competent curriculum bills, EBF funding, the TEACH Act, to Climate Jobs Illinois, the virtual mentoring program, and of course, CTU getting its full bargaining rights back. Those are huge achievements. And while we didn't get the fair tax amendment over the line, we did pass the Workers' Rights Amendment, enshrining the right to collectively bargain in our state constitution. And folks, we were the first and only state to end a voucher program, the cynically named Invest in Kids, divest from kids. It's no more, and good riddance. It was a scam to give the wealthy tax breaks and impoverish public schools. And it was there's a version of it in that big, awful, terrible bill they passed in Washington. So politically, we're stronger. In my time here, we've elected Democratic supermajorities in both houses, all statewide constitutional officers. Oh, and we helped put a union brother, a teacher, an IFT vice president, Brandon Johnson, as mayor in the largest city in our state and the greatest big city in America. Our partnerships are stronger. We work more closely with other unions than ever before. Think of We Are One Illinois, the pension partnership, the Latino Policy Forum, Arise, Equality Illinois, Center for Tax and Budget Accountability, Climate Jobs, ICER, Grassroots Collaborative, the Illinois Alliance for Retired Americans, Jobs with Justice, Illinois Families for Public Schools. We work with them all very closely. That's how we make change. And pensions, I just have to say this, you know, we fought, it took a huge amount of all our time early in my tenure to fight that awful bill that gutted everyone's pensions, not just Tier 2, gutted everyone's. So, you know, I was there when we argued that case in front of the Supreme Court, the Illinois Supreme Court, and I made sure I got there early, and I was in the front row, and our lawyer was there with the arguments, and the justices came in, and we all stood, and I cried. I cried because I knew the working people of the state were going to find redress in the courts. And we did, 7-0. We won that case. And now Tier 2. We're not there yet, but we are making progress. Thank you for all your solidarity and activism on that. I'm very happy to report to you some hot news, which is that our Tier 2 pension bill will be heard in the Executive Committee of the Illinois House on Wednesday and voted out. Hell yeah. And I expected it to be voted out of committee onto the floor. It's progress. It's not enough. We got to keep working. I know you will, and I'll be there all the way. Our board is more diverse. We've taken on racial and social justice brothers, sisters, siblings, do not buy into that false choice, that either or, members or social justice. They are one and the same effort. You can fight for a good contract and stand for justice in our world, because if we don't do that, the detractors win with their gross anti-union invective against us. If we don't stand for racial justice, for dismantling racism in every form in this country, our detractors win. They say, all you care about is you. Well, no, that's not true. We know that's a lie. We care about all of us, and we've got to show that in everything we do every day. When did unions ever want less? When did our movement ever say, you know, we're not that ambitious. That's enough. The racial justice imperative is an organizing imperative, and it's in our blood and bones. Samuel Gomper said, you know, what do unions want? They want more. What do we want? More food, more bread, more justice. That leads me to strikes, the ultimate expression of our power and of our just claim for more. And we do it. We do it. I learned firsthand in 1996 as a third-year teacher, was on strike for 10 days. Look at Chicago, 2012, 14, 19, 22. You're catching up to Niles, Stacy. Oh, there's the mayor.
Yeah, they won't get there.
I think I've been on every strike line since I've been president of the IFT. Some have been a day or two, but it was 23 days in Waukegan. It was a few months at Columbia College and CFAC. With strikes come power. Don't seek them, don't avoid them. Exercise that power. Don't fear them. It's a powerful and necessary tool. And brothers and sisters and siblings, our family, our union family in Cahokia, Local 1272, and West Frankfort, 817, are in pitched battles, and they may well strike after this convention. Will you be there to help them? Hell yeah. So, my friends, in every way, by every measure, we are sounder, stronger, more resilient, more just, more united, and more powerful than ever before. And looking to the future, I have to tell you, it's got to be this statewide revenue campaign. Without revenue, we can't fully fund EBF until 2040. That's unacceptable. Without revenue, we cannot rebuild higher ed funding. That's unacceptable. And we cannot repair the Tier 2 pension system that you all just stood for without more revenue. That's unacceptable. So we need more revenue in Illinois. A fairer revenue system that helps working people, that is modernized to the economy we have now, and that asks the wealthiest to pay their fair share. We can do it. We can do it. But it's going to take some time, and it's going to take a lot of effort from you and your members, our rank and file, and they must learn from you, the leaders and activists, the real conditions that we're in. That's the first step. So let me just indulge me in one more moment in a personal reflection. I hope you have time, Mayor. I won't be too long. From the moment I set foot in Niles North High School, Thank you. In the summer of 1993, I was probably 4 or 5, I learned from my colleagues there, all union members, the meaning of solidarity. I learned that we were the strongest advocates for our schools and the educational program we worked in, the smartest teachers and staff, the best leaders, the most committed to the cause of bettering our lives and bettering the schools. We're focused on the union, keeping it strong, making sure it, the union, was the instrument of change that we wanted. My role as a teacher and my professionalism as a teacher was and is inextricably tied to my role as a unionist. To be a great teacher is to be a great unionist. and vice versa. So thank you to all those rank and file members, people like Jim Doherty, Jim Sweeney, my mentors, hundreds of others who gave of themselves to secure a long-lasting union, great schools, and new leaders like me. They looked at me and developed me as a leader. And I've tried to do the same for everyone who's followed. My most fervent wish is that I played some of that same role for this union and you. There are so many tremendous challenges. I haven't talked about climate change or AI. You will tackle those things. They're not on our doorstep. They're in our homes. They're in our classrooms right now. But the world outside, as I stated a minute ago, let me turn to that. Our gravest challenge to democracy in our lifetimes. Our union, this union, is a threat to Donald Trump. This union is a threat to the MAGA world, which has instrumentalized the federal government against us because we are a union, because we are a functional example of democracy. We are a useful and effective civil democratic organization. Don't forget that, and make sure you constantly show that to the world. That's resistance. They want us to despair. We will resist with joy and solidarity. The French philosopher Albert Camus said, "We have nothing to lose except everything. So let's go forward. If we fail, it will be better to have taken our stand at the side of those who want to live than with those who destroy." Well, that's true. But friends, we will not fail, and we will forever oppose those who destroy. Go into the future with solidarity and faith and love in each other and for each other. At the end of the day, it's all we have. It's enough. To paraphrase James Baldwin, who bore the twin blessings of being born black and gay, he said, we have to stop waiting on others and look within ourselves. We have to change ourselves to change the world. At the end of every school year, I used to ask my students, this was my evaluation of the class, how have you changed? How have you changed in this class? And what did we do together? And what did you do that changed you? Well, we've changed a lot in the last 15 years. I have changed for the better. I know that too. It's the work of this union that's changed me. There's so many more great changes to come. I'll be with you in spirit and person on the line, I'm sure, as we march together to inspire, fight, and transform to change this world for the better. IFT, God bless you all. Thank you, and may this union be forever strong.